Hello friends and enemies, welcome to, or back to, happy for now, it's me Isabel here with a try chapter video. So, I want to start doing these too. All my friends are doing them. I want to be cool too, okay? But also, I have so many random paranormal romances that have like popped on my radar, left my radar, I've forgotten about. I started to browse, and I was going to do books on my shelves I haven't read yet. That was almost a try chapter. That might be the next round. But instead, this time, I thought let's do try chapter paranormal romance because Love in the Night starts in April and I would like to try some of these and determine if I'm actually interested in them or not, because Love in the Night is coming. I need to put my TBR together for the month of April with Love in the Night. I have a variety of paranormal titles that wind up on various lists I have, and I went digging for some things I've never heard of. So I have 10 books picked and I figured we'd go from there. I think I'm gonna read like the first paragraph of each to determine what order I want to read them in and then go from there. So I'm gonna quickly show you a graphic with all 10 books. Some of these I own physically, or not physically, some of these I own on my Kindle, so like, because if I'm not interested at all, it can just immediately be removed from my device, which reduces the TBR. So here's the 10 books that are on my radar to read. So I'm going to just go in order and I will come back after every first paragraph to kind of tell you initial feelings from that. And then we will read the first chapter and go from there. Okay, so first paragraph for I'll Come Back For You is very interesting. It's a prologue and it says you need to breathe, help is coming, and telling you to stay calm. So I'm gonna rate that one I'm intrigued. So that's gonna be like a 2, I think, for now. Off to a strong start. I will probably read through the prologue and chapter 1 because that's only about 15 pages when I read the first chapter of this one. Okay, first chapter in Captive in the Underworld. First chapter, first paragraph. I'm gonna give it like a 5. It starts off pretty normal. This is one that I will say borderline on being paranormal, but it's in my paranormal folder, so we are counting it. But yeah, it's a 5. It starts off very much like a lot of Hades and Persephone's to me in that first paragraph, and I'm intrigued, but not enough to like want to read it immediately, you know? So for now, it's a 5. Okay, Playing with Monsters, also an interesting opening. I'm gonna give that one a 3. Because I'm curious. It talks about like playing with darkness and like you can't eradicate yourself. So I'm intrigued. I also have an audiobook of this one, so I'd like to see if I like it enough to want to knock out 2 things from my Read What You Own, because that'd be fan-freaking-tastic. Okay, wow, that was a quick first paragraph. I read 2 kind of because of how quick it was, but I'm intrigued. This is Thieves and Monsters, the first book in Cleo Evans' Monster Mafia series, which I have a couple free ones that I've gotten from her for. And something I've been, like, relatively pretty curious about. I think it's a 4. It might be a 1. Because it talks about, like, a debt being paid. And I love a debt. So I put 4, maybe 1. Because I'm trying not to, like, give anything a 1 yet. Because I just don't know how I'm going to feel about it. So, alright, let's go on to our next one. Okay, so Kiss of the Basilisk. I'm reading my e-arc of it. I do have the KU version checked out, which is what I will read if I do read this. I'm also intrigued. I'm going to give it a 6. I'm intrigued, but I don't feel like that gave me enough. It starts off with her talking with a friend. So like that's not enough info for me personally. So that's where we're at. All right. I'm sorry. The Alpha of Bleake Isles open? I love that intrigue. They're at a like little tea party. And who fills the doorway? Yeah, I read a little past paragraph 1 because I had to know who filled the doorway. I mean, I assumed. We're gonna give that also maybe a 1. I'm intrigued by that one for sure, but I love a gasp because of who's there. That's always fun to be. Okay, I have to tell you about this book because there's a reason I grabbed it. I went and looked at like popular paranormals and I found Fated to the Wolf Prince. This is one that I got because I just like kept seeing it, and then I was reading about it and it was like this abbreviation, I'm gonna put it on screen vibes, and I was like, what does that abbreviation mean? If you touch her, I'll kill you. That's what it was. And I was very confused, and I was like, well, I guess I just have to put this on the list because I'm curious. That is like an 8 on interest, maybe a 9, because it opens talking about her scientific lab, and I'm sorry, Yawn. Bored. Don't care. It's paranormal. I like a, opening. So on to the next. This is one that one of y'all recommended in my comments, and the cover had me curious because I can't tell if it's AI. I've ran it through a couple different things. I've gotten various options. The author credits an artist, so there's that. This was an interesting first paragraph because it was literally like 2 sentences, which was freedom and an illusion that was about to be shattered. I'm intrigued. I'm also intrigued. This may be also a 1. So I'm gonna have to like go through and reorder these, but okay, you've got my attention. I'm intrigued. This is another one that is sitting high on the lists all around. Okay, so Cold Hearted also has a really intriguing first paragraph. This is a really hard one. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. I think some of these are moving up to like the bottom spot for sure. I'm at least moving them up by 1 because that was an interesting open. Cold Hearted has been on my TBR forever, so I'm hoping I like it enough that it, perhaps it's ending up on my read list for not 30 and 30 for Love in the Night. All right, let's go read the last book and I'll be right back. On the Run with a Vampire is going to be a 7 on the list. And then I'm going to go through here real quick and reorder them. Also, this is a very old notepad and I'm trying to use it up. So in that effort, it's being used now. All right, so we have our order. I'm going to pop up the graphic here and then I will timestamp down below as I read through chapter 1 of each of these because I probably won't just be here reading them. The next part will be a little more vloggy, me moving around the house doing different things this evening and the rest of today. And then I'll come back at the end with a final thoughts and feelings. But I am going to go ahead and read chapter 1 of Bleak Isle because I'm really curious. I really liked the first chapter of The Apple of Bleak Isle. That is 100% staying on my TBR. That was fun. That was really fun. We have our alpha crashing a little get together, and our omega is known as Merowyn Mouse by everyone because she kind of just sits in the corner and reads. She considers herself not attractive and not appealing as an omega. And of course there's like the most beloved omega there at this party, and he shows up and he just like stares at her, and it looks like the selection is happening, which she was like 16 for the last one and wasn't submitted because she was too young. So I am super duper intrigued. This feels very fun, like a very fun new different kind of main character happening here, and we haven't even gotten anything of the alpha yet really, so I'm intrigued. This is high on the Love in the Night TBR. Okay, A Curse of Fate, very intrigued. A lot of things I love. She is on the run because she isn't part of a pack and doesn't want to be taken down because of her designation, which I'm assuming is Omega. I'm very intrigued. Very, very intrigued. This is also currently staying on the TBR, I think. But yeah, that was a really fun first chapter. I'm surprised. Like, I'm not surprised it was a fun first chapter. I'm surprised at how much I liked it. Because I do feel like a lot of more popular titles I don't always love, but like I said, I know one of y'all mentioned it in a comment, and I don't remember who, and I haven't searched the comment, but you know who you are, and I'm actually really excited to read more of it. This is the only problem with doing this now is I have to wait, but that's fine. We're gonna wait and read these during Love in the Night. Okay, I was gonna get up and like go downstairs, but she's so asleep. We're staying put. I feel bad, but I also don't feel like listening to her hit the door to go outside nonstop. So we're here. I just finished Playing with Monsters. First chapter. This one is going down the TBR. Basically, okay, she didn't like it either. Basically, the setup here is that our heroine, our main character, is reincarnated constantly into different lives, and he will always find her and hunt her down. Yes, I'm intrigued. Not intrigued enough. I'm more intrigued by the other things I've read so far. So that one is moving down the TBR. It's not coming off, I don't think, but I'll have to read a little bit more of it to determine if it's coming off the TBR, but that's where we're at. So Thieves and Monsters, that was quite the open. Basically, she is on what is supposed to be her last mission and gets caught. It's giving the same vibes as the Lillian Lark one with the dragons, except for they're wolves, and it's 3 of them. Very intrigued. I know the 3rd book in this one is like sapphic, so I'm really, really curious about the series as a whole. And we know I love a monster book and I love a mafia book. I mean, there's not much to not like there, you know? So I'm definitely intrigued on this one. And yeah, I don't know. I think it might hang around. But we'll see. On to the next. Okay, I'll come back for you. It's on the iffy scale. Anyways, I read the prologue and the first chapter, and I'm intrigued, but I also am unsure. So basically her high school crush is coming with the show he works on, Ghost Hunters, and they're coming to check out the Airbnb she inherited from her grandmother who died. And like, I'm intrigued on that part. But it just, like, reading it so far, it feels like it could really go either way for me. So it's one that's on the maybe list of I need to read more and decide. It seems like 50-50 on if I'll DNF it or not currently at the point I'm at, which, I mean, I'm not very far, so that doesn't say a lot. But yeah, I like that our heroine's older. She's 39, so like that's intriguing. I don't feel like she reads like she's 39 though. She's definitely reading more young, so that's interesting too, but I'm definitely at least intrigued. I told you location changes were coming. I finally moved. I just finished the first chapter of Kiss of the Basilisk. Wow, words. Mouth. This one I might end up finishing in your next weekly vlog. Like, it's very likely. I'm really intrigued and really, 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 really curious about it. I feel like it's a long first chapter, but it's a lot of setup. And basically our heroine, Tem, is being sent with all the other girls that are of age for the prince. So basically they're all born the same year, to go train with the Basilisk, who they like had a war with and can also present as humans, to learn how to be sexual with someone, like to have sex and all these things. I am intrigued. I know Millie's drinking water. I'm sorry. I am so intrigued. This is such an interesting setup. And Tem, our heroine, is just like she doesn't view herself highly, nor does she get a lot of anything from the town. Like, people are kind of rude to her because she's a farmer and thus lower value. So yeah, I'm really, really curious about this one. So I'm very excited to read more. I read the prologue chapter for On the Run with the Vampire, and then I read chapter 1, which is from our vampire hero's perspective. Basically, they meet one night on the train, and he's like, "Are you willing to share the city with me?" I didn't know there was another vampire. She's dressed up as a vampire for Halloween. And she's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever," and like wants to run away from him because she's freaked out by him. Come on. And then his chapter 1, he is injured, and he goes to find her because she's the only person he knows that can help her. This is immediately on my TBR for Love in the Night. This sounds so fun. I will be reading it sooner than later. Like, oh my goodness. I'm actually mad at myself because I had it checked out last year for Love in the Night, or like fall round, and I didn't read it, or for Halloween or something. I didn't get to it, and I'm like mad about it now because I'm like, this sounds so fun. So we are gonna read that here. I gotta get Millie in, and then I'm gonna read my last 2 books. Okay, so I just finished the first chapter of Cold Hearted, also on the Love in the Night TBR. So she's moving to the small town Alaska, and that flight, like, the pilot is dead silent. She gets settled into her room, and like, she apparently doesn't feel temperatures really, but loves the way cold like will cut through. She's standing in undies and a t-shirt on her Juliet balcony and sees the pilot, who like would not speak to her basically the whole flight, standing out on the ice. And then he comes upstairs and goes in his room, which is next door to hers. It's this inn that they stay at. So I am intrigued. Also, the wolves come into town, but like it's okay. Like don't bug them and you'll be fine. So we've got our werewolf set up. Very intrigued. I'm reading a lot of werewolf books right now for this one. I honestly feel like my TBR is lacking vampires. That's weird. Anyways. Okay, so I finished Fated to the Wolf Prince, and I liked that we had a friend group immediately in the beginning of this one. Definitely not a good first line or paragraph, to be honest, but interesting setup. Basically, the head of all the packs has sent out a call that all pack leaders and whoever need to escort all their unmated pack mates to the place in Alaska that they all are going to gather to find mates. So I'm intrigued. I think that sounds really interesting. And then I also really like that our main character in this one is like, nobody's going to like me. And she's a Psi, which is basically one step above an Omega, but they don't allow Omegas anymore. So she's an Omega. We all know that. That was a given. But I liked that we had the two friends already. Like that was fun. I like a friend group. I like a friend group early in a book. So this is also probably staying on our TBR for Love in the Night. And then last but not least, I read Captive in the Underworld. And I don't know why this is in my paranormal folder on my Kindle, but it is. And I don't know that I want to read it. I think it's going in the pile with the couple others that I need to read more to decide. I didn't hate it, but it felt... how do I say this? So like Dark Olympus by Katie Robert to me feels like Greek god retellings, but different. This feels like the only difference is that it's lesbian Persephone and Hades, which I'm not opposed to, but, and I honestly was very excited for, but I'm not sure if it's what I want right now. So I may not read more of it soon, but I think it's going to go back in the like, we'll try you at some point and I'll see how far I get and then abandon ship if it doesn't work, because I do own it. So I feel like I have to make a choice. By no means do I think it's bad. The writing for me right now is not vibing though. Like it's a little too, what's the word? Like how do I want to phrase it? Like not drawn out, but like it's just a little too, it's overwritten, I guess, for my taste right now. Because it's very, I don't know, it just feels overwritten in a weird way to me. That's the best I got. So yeah, I will be back in a few to wrap this up and we'll talk about where everything's going and I'll have a nice fun graphic. So let's discuss. Okay, first things first, we have 3 maybes that I might be removing from my TBR / DNFing at some point, I feel like, from this project, which not terrible because I read 10 books. Like they all 10 couldn't be winners. So there's that. But that would be I'll Come Back for You by Cherish Reed is a maybe. I need to read more. Playing with Monsters is a maybe. Another one again. All of these are ones I just need to read more of to decide. And then Captive in the Underworld. I need to go look at reviews for this one to see what people think. I'm just not sure if it's for me, which sucks because I love the concept. I love the idea and all of that about it. But I'm just not positive it's what I want to read, you know? Those are our maybes. Again, I say maybe because I might read more of some of them now or later and make decisions. So yeah, I need to read a ton of reviews and like just try more in Captive in the Underworld. Playing with Monsters, I think for me, I just don't think chapter 1 gave me enough of a vibe check. So again, same thing. I need a little more and I'll Come Back for You. I'm intrigued and I probably will read it during Love in the Night because it's a ghost romance or something like that related. And I do love a ghost related romance. So it's also shorter, which makes sense. Now let's talk about what's staying on my TBR real quick. So On the Run with a Vampire is staying. I am reading this during Love in the Night. I'm so intrigued after that first chapter. Cold Hearted by Heather Guyer. I'm also leaving and going to be reading during Love in the Night. Thieves and Monsters by Cleo Evans. Same thing. We are going to read this during Love in the Night. Fated to the Wolf Prince. This felt like a book that I could devour in a sitting, you know? And I love a book like that, so it's staying, and we will definitely be reading it during Love in the Night. Alpha of Bleake Isle by Catherine Moon. I might read this before Love in the Night. That's how I'm feeling after that first chapter. It's definitely sat on my brain, and I was kind of like, it's historical monster romance, so I feel like I could read it ahead and it's okay, but I very well may read this one before Love in the Night. And then A Curse of Fate by Jamin Eve. I am going to resist reading this ahead because it is one of my favorite things. I love an on-the-run heroine. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I love it so much. And I am very intrigued by the setup here as well. And again, another one that feels like I could basically inhale this book without trying. And last but not least is Kiss of the Basilisk / Split or Swallow. As soon as I wrap up another video I'm working on, I'm starting this book. Like, I've already determined that there is going to be an evening in which I start this book and finish it probably. And it's long. Like, the ebook copy I have from KU still, 700 and some pages. The print copy is almost 600 pages. I think I'm going to sit down and inhale this book. So, yeah, I don't know. That's where we're at. On this try chapter. So fruitful, but nothing like came directly off my TBR, which kind of sucks, but we'll see what happens as I continue with those three. Maybe 3 of those will fly off my TBR, or maybe one of these that I'm keeping is going to surprise me and it's also not going to stay on my TBR. That's possible. I would love to know what y'all think of this format and how I did it. Did you like it? Do you like the first paragraph situation? I'm not as controlled as Heather. I know myself. I won't stop after the first sentence. So it was hard enough to stop after the first paragraph. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you have theme ideas for a try chapter that you would like to see from me, let me know. And if you have vampire romance suggestions, please let me know. I need more. I'm so frustrated at the lack of vampire romances right now. So I would love to know that as well in the comments. If you don't do any of those things, you can leave me a wolf emoji because I feel like I read a ton of wolf shifters unintentionally for this. So we'll do a wolf emoji. If you're looking for links for any of these books, those will be down below, as well as links to my friend and you're on the internet that I am. And I will talk to y'all. Oh, Peas is like, I heard you talking about wolves, Mom. I'm right here. I will have links and all that good stuff for you down there. Links to my friend anywhere on the internet that I am. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions. We'll get away. This is what we wait.